All right, hey guys, Jason here. We're up here at Franklin Toyota, the amazing Franklin Toyota. Love these guys up here. And what we're going to be talking about today on this Christmas day is something that I see. I've been watching a lot of videos lately on how trucks are assembled, okay? I don't know why. I watched one on Jeep that Trail Recon did a long time ago. We saw the one on how Toyota's done, but I mean, they just keep popping up now, and I've been watching them a lot. And it brought me to make this video because we know that Toyota with the Tundras, like we see here with the Tundras, is having all kinds of problems, obviously, with the engines, and we got engines being replaced and crate engines being put in and all this kind of variable stuff on here for some. We got Chevy with the 6.2 engine issues. Okay, this is nothing new. Ford had a whole bunch of them too. I mean, it just is what it is with, you know, people got to replace engines. But today, now, even with Toyota, let's also talk about the fact that they are not recalling the hybrids. But when these hybrid engines go down and they got to replace under warranty, they're getting a short block. Difference between a short block and a long block, or a long block as we call a crate engine, meaning that it is 100% the full engine assembly with everything on there. And basically you just open the box up, take that, you drop it in, pull the old one out. Whereas a short block means you take everything off of the engine all the way down and rebuild it and put it all back together again. Now, a crate engine for many brands today is still pretty simple. Crate engine on a 3.6 liter Pentastar Jeep engine, a V6, it's a pretty simple process. Okay, not too much to it. Heck, even a Hemi 5.7, not too bad. Okay, these simpler engines, not too complicated. But when you start getting into these, and you start getting into a lot of these engines that are made today, with the amount of wires, the amount of connections, the amount of hookups, the amount of tubings and hosing and plumbing and all of this stuff and the sensor systems and everything that's on them today, I personally do not feel that the techs can do it right. The techs are human beings, okay? So that whether it's a crate motor, again, fully done, or a short block build, and I'm not just pointing fingers at Toyota, I think it's that way for all of them, but I honestly, if it was my truck, I would not trust that it is put back together correctly. Okay, we have seen this numerous times with dashboards. Okay, when a car is assembled, that dashboard and the whole entire console, the whole assembly of that is already pre-built and just slides right in a car and then boom, gets bolted on. But when you have a rattle in the dash, my advice to you, never have a dealership take it apart because they will never put it together the same way it was before. There are just some things that techs can and can't do well. And my opinion is that, and we see it in the forums and the stuff like this talked about, and you watch like the car guy online, he shows these videos of people that get the engines redone and then they go down again. And I just had a guy just comment today on my video about a turbo in a 2-liter Jeep. It's, you know, it's only a few months old and it's on its 3rd turbo. Well, if it's on its 3rd turbo, that means that tech is probably the one making problems here, or doing things wrong. Somebody will argue that. I'm just saying, I don't trust them to be able to do the job correctly today. Now, it's not that they're not good techs and that they're not the good mechanics, as we used to call them back in the day, but it's that the systems are too complicated. They are too hard to actually do. And when these things are built on an assembly line and that engine bay is completely open and they come in and they want to put a wiring harness in and they snap that whole entire perfectly laid out wiring harness in, is done, that's one thing. When you have to go ripping all of this stuff out and try to put it back where it goes, and remember, keep in mind, techs are paid a flat rate per job, and if they take too long to do the job, they don't get paid. They have to go as fast as humanly possible. Do you think any tech is going to go, oh, I broke a clip right here, and stop and wait because there's a clip that's missing, and they're just going to be like, he'll never notice it. It's fine. It'll be there. It's fine. We'll just zip tie that over there. Whatever the case is. Okay, this is the kind of stuff, the reality of this, that we have to deal with. Oh, you know, that's clean enough. That's good enough. Oh, that's okay. Oh, I didn't route that right. Oh, but I'm not taking it all apart. You know what? That'll be okay right there. We'll let that just, it is what it is. These kind of things, they happen every single day. Why? It's not because the techs are bad techs. Not at all. This is not a hit on techs at all. This is a hit on manufacturers making it so difficult that, and then expecting the techs to be able to do the job. And then it's a hit on the dealerships, all of them, for the pay structure and the way that the techs are paid, to not want to put their time into the job. The last thing we want as consumers is a tech that has to work on our vehicle based on how fast he can get the job done. And that's how they're all paid. The quicker you go, the faster you can get it done, the more money you make. And what a horrible system. I want somebody that is going to take their time and do it right, because that tech is going to have your vehicle, if he's doing an engine replacement, for about 16 hours. And then he's going to replace that engine in 16 hours and get it out the door. And if he does it in 15, he makes a little extra money. But if he does it in 17, 18, 19, 20 hours, he loses money on that. He wants this thing done, shipped out the door and gone. And then it's no longer his problem. It was his problem for 16 hours. It is your problem for the next 5, 8, 10 years. And if he didn't do his job right during that 16 hours, it affects your truck for the next 6, 8, 10 years. Okay, you see that the cycle here is vicious. It is not the days where it was basically 4 motor mounts, strap it, drop it in, screw in 4 motor mounts, connect the transmission, and a couple quick wiring connectors, and you're all done. Those days are long gone. These things are way too complicated, way too advanced, with way too many moving parts, and that's one thing. Then the other one is the parts that are actually used to build all these. They are cheap, flimsy, disposable connectors. They cannot hold up to this. They are built by precision people doing it over and over again in a facility that sit there and do this stuff in a controlled environment and put all this together. And then you ask a tech to be able to reach into places blind and be able to use 6 hands and 4 fingers on one side and 12 fingers on the other to be able to make these connections work, and they snap them and they break them and they're no good. And then they can't replace that without replacing the entire wiring harness, and they're not going to do that. They're just going to put it in there and put a little silicone on it and hope it holds together. And we see this stuff over and over again. And it's an ugly, ugly way to be. So in my opinion, me personally, I do not trust what we call invasive procedures. I do not trust the dealerships to do them right anymore. Okay, whatever, and again, I'm not blaming the mechanics or the techs, but the whole system is designed it where they can't do it and designed it to be too big of a problem. But I do not trust a dealer to do anything invasive. Invasive being that is open heart surgery type stuff on a vehicle. Deep dive into there, lots of parts removed. I will not, and those days of me believing in it and trusting it are gone. If I had a truck, okay, if I owned one of these, my personal opinion, if I owned one and the engine goes down and I got to bring it in for a new engine, the second I get that new engine in it, I am selling it. Okay, same thing if this thing got in a major accident. If it gets in an accident and they don't total it and techs have to do invasive work on this, invasive and deep dive and get into this thing to put it back together, gone. It's gone. The second it's fixed, I don't care how much I lose, I'm out of it. It's just gone. I'm not keeping it. My opinion, I'm not saying to do this. I'm just saying that the whole industry has created a world of problems with the technology that stems beyond the technology. The techs can't do them right. They can't work on them right. They can't make them right. They can't handle it right. And there's just too many variables that come into play that for me, like I said, I'm not keeping them. I'm not dealing with it. And if I have a rattle in my dashboard, I got a problem in the dash, I won't let them do it. I'll just suck it up and suffer with it and drive it until I turn around and sell it. I got buddies that are the same way with that. Okay, I have a buddy that had, he's owned a lot of Raptors, but he had a Raptor too, and he was like, I can't stand the rattle in the dash. He took it in for them to fix it, and it came back so bad that he sold the truck 2 days later. Okay, not even worth trying to get it fixed again. This is the reality of things today. It is too complicated and made with too cheap of parts for us to fix it. Okay, it used to be where your toolbox consisted of air ratchets and air wrenches, some torque wrenches and, a socket set, screwdriver set, a torque set. This was how you did things. Okay, pry bars occasionally, this is how it was done. Now, no. Now it's plastic clips and little Christmas tree retainers and cheap stuff and garbage is how they're put together. They're not meant to be taken apart and worked on again. And sadly, today, more than ever any time in history, they all need to be taken apart and worked on again. Figure out that vicious cycle. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.